Hi everyone. So again, the title is not clickbait. I'm not going to put any clickbait titles on any of these videos, just really what's happening. I might, of course I'll try and make the titles interesting, but they will always be accurate and true to what's going on. So yeah, I have started to have some symptoms. Started yesterday, continued through the night and through to today. So in this vlog, I will tell you what those symptoms are, and then I'll tell you what I've done about it and what's going on, because in that title you see I should be tested, and there's a but, and I'll explain. Okay, so what are the symptoms? A mildly raised temperature. Not much, a little bit. Has been getting warmer today. It's been increasing a little bit, but it's still very mild. You can probably hear my nose is a little bit stuffy. I have a slightly sore, more the neck than the throat, a little bit sore on the inside of the throat, but a little bit sore on the outside, and I also have slightly raised glands on the side of my neck. And I've been sneezing, started sneezing yesterday, still sneezing today. And I wouldn't say, it's not exactly that I have a cough, but it's more like a desire to clear my throat more than normal. So experiencing these symptoms, they're mild, like I'd say at the moment I'd give them maybe a 4 out of 10 in terms of severity. Not much at all, not much that under normal circumstances would stop me from doing anything. But being responsible, of course, I contacted the government agency responsible for this, in which they instruct you to do, particularly if you're coming into the country. And it's Healthline. They have a free call number. Called them up after about an hour and 10-minute wait. I finally got to talk to someone. So that's a little tip for you. If you are having to call Healthline, any of you, make sure, and you're doing it from a cell phone, which most of us use nowadays, make sure you've got a good charge on your phone, or you're able to do it somewhere where you can plug your phone in so that it can stay charged, because you might be waiting quite a while. So yeah, gave the person on the line all of my details, my name, my date of birth, where I am, the symptoms, etc., and they record them all down. And my potential contact with different people, the fact that I've traveled, the fact that I also had contact with the taxi driver who has been known to have carried a later confirmed case of the virus. And so basically they have levels of people at the call center, and so that person takes all the details, and then he's like, oh, I'll just go get one of the nurses. And so wait for a while, and the nurse comes back and talks to me some more and decides that yes, I should be tested. Okay, now this is partly where the complication comes in. I'll talk a bit more about some other things later. So first she says, okay, are you enrolled with a general practice? And I'm like, yeah, I think so. I haven't been to the doctor in a couple of years, but I did go for something, a couple of years ago I went for something. So yeah, I think they've got my records. And she says, okay, well, try and call them first. And I'm like, well, they're not actually that close to where I am now. And I don't have a car. Remember, I've not just come back from holiday, I was in the process of relocating. I don't have a car here. And so, because that would be fine, I could drive in my own car to go somewhere, that's totally allowed. But if I drive someone else's car, that means that car is now potentially contaminated until further notice. And then they can't drive that car, at least for a few days. I was thinking, oh, they wouldn't be able to drive it for 14 days, but talking later on with people, it's like, yeah, actually just a few days, and that's long enough for the virus to die on any surfaces, particularly if you disinfect it. So it's like, well, is there any way I can see one of the medical clinics that's closer to me? Because there's 2 major medical clinics and the local hospital all within easy walking distance. And like, oh, maybe. And they go away and call and check and call and check. And then they come back and said, well, there's a clinic set up on the North Shore. The nurse is like, I found somewhere you can go and be tested today. And it's 12 kilometers away or something like this. And I'm like, still, that's going to be hard for me to get to because I don't have a car. And I'm not going to be riding the bus or catching a taxi or anything, am I? Because, you know, that's potentially going to spread it to other people if it turns out that I have got that. Because again, the symptoms are very mild. They could just be some other kind of cold. They could even come from being exposed to dust. I'm quite sensitive to dust, but you know, in a different location and some different dust and stuff. Yeah, sometimes it does make me a little bit stuffy and, you know, a little bit sore in the throat. That's not uncommon for me. But it's the staff at the call center. I'm sure they're all doing their best, but you know, you can imagine the situation they're in. All of a sudden, they have this massive demand. They have layers of different people with different information being passed between them, lots of calls coming in, and many of the staff have only been taken on in the last few days, I imagine, as you know, as the need for them has ramped up. So a few mixed messages going on backwards and forwards. So in the end, you know, because they were really quite keen to get me tested at this one location, which is, again, I think it's 12 kilometers away or something. They went away, even though I said, oh, how am I even going to get there? They went away and tried to call them themselves. And they couldn't get hold of this clinic. You know, the official government healthline couldn't get hold of the clinic where they wanted me to get tested. So where they left it was, they said, okay, call one of the clinics near you, see if you can get hold of them. Call your GP, see if you can get hold of them. And if that doesn't work, call the hospital, you know. So I went through all that. Couldn't get through to one clinic. Another clinic was closed. Got hold of my GP clinic. They were open. The receptionist said, okay, I'll talk to the nurse here and then someone will call you back. Cool. Left that for a while. And they eventually called back and said, well, we can't actually test you over the weekend, but we could test you on Monday. Which in the end, that's possibly what's going to end up happening, because again, I can't actually get up to the other clinic, this one clinic for this whole major suburban area, quite a distance away. So I also tried the hospital, because they said, well, you know, if you can't do any of these things, maybe try the hospital. And the hospital said, oh no, they shouldn't be saying that. We're not doing any testing here. Again, maybe some mixed messages came through, you know, from what was happening. An overloaded call center. So that's basically where I'm left at the moment. I should be tested, but there's no practical way for me to actually have that test done. I am trying to see if there's some way that maybe there's a car I can borrow so I can go there. But again, at the very least, that would mean that car is then not usable by whoever normally uses that car for 2 or 3 days or something, to make sure it's has a chance if there is any exposure. Because I think it's very important at these times to be responsible, to take things seriously. You know, in terms of myself with these symptoms and what's going on with me, it probably doesn't really make a big difference. Mild symptoms, given my, you know, how my demographics are, most likely it won't be any more than mild symptoms and they will go away. And in the meantime, I will just continue to self-isolate, which I've been doing already anyway. So not a lot of practical difference, but I would think it would be very useful to the public health system, to know if I have it or not. Both just in terms of the statistics, and so they have an accurate picture of what's going on. And also maybe then they'd finally test that taxi driver. Because I rather suspect that it's more likely that if I do have it, that I got it from that taxi driver than from anywhere else. overseas, and then they would need to get a bit serious about testing him and testing all of his other contacts. But yeah, in practical terms for me, probably doesn't make that much difference. Hopefully this is interesting for some of you though, so you can understand just what's happening with the system, what's going on, you know, how the system is responding, and what you may expect if you have to go down the rabbit hole of needing to arrange some testing or things like that. Of course, it is evolving day by day. Whether that gets better or worse as more demand goes on the system, who knows? But that's where things are at for now. We'll see. Maybe later on today or tomorrow there might be a way that I can borrow a car, in which case I'll go and actually get the test. Or if not, maybe Monday. And maybe my symptoms will be gone by then anyway. Really hard to know. That probably wraps up the most substantial part of what I had to say today. So from the intro, you saw me doing some Qigong. I haven't actually even done my Qigong yet today. I have literally spent, I'm just checking the clock over there, the last 5 hours between different phone calls and then checking with people and then, like, you know, just trying to get this organized. So I am going to do some Qigong soon though. Once I've finally finished this, I'm going to, you know, because practice what I preach. I want to do what I can to keep myself healthy and now to start recovering from whatever it is, whether it is in fact COVID-19 or just a regular cold or something else. Oh, one other small thing. So I haven't shaved yet today. A guy I know, actually I don't know if it's his Facebook page, but there is a Facebook page out there called CoBeard19, or a group rather, I think it is, where basically people are taking before and after shots for, you know, what happens to their facial hair over the space of the excuse me, isolation and quarantine and that sort of thing. So what do you think? Do you think I should continue to shave, or should I let my beard grow over the next little while? Maybe you can tell me what you think in the comments below, and I look forward to seeing you on the next one.